Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Psalm 146. You are first. And everybody else in the bushes, I'll give some time for people to get notified because I did not put the thumbnail up early, even though my intention was to, but yes. I'll give you all a few minutes. My kettle just boiled, so I'm going to go pour some hot tea. I will be back in one quick second and let everybody kind of get in. Morning, my Renaissance grandma. Good to see you. Got my green tea. Just get myself situated. Hope everyone's doing well this morning. It's a nice day over here, a bit humid. Going to a outdoor gathering at 12:30 today, so gotta get ready, get out the door, carpooling, because you have to pay so much per vehicle. One of those. Everything this year has been a lot of provincial or a lot of parks that require entry fees and this, that, and the third. Plus, there's activities there. 1 second here. It did not have for me the thumbnail. I didn't put it up until 8:45. I think 8:45. I was up doing watching some videos, a documentary. Good morning, Tara. And I was gonna put it up last night. I had to work on that. I'm just really, really getting out of hand. Morning, Bud Files. Really getting out of hand. Trying to get some stuff organized, some stuff done in terms of the channel and more consistency. So I'm working on that. And I guess you're the garden and the heat and stuff. Time you're just like I'll do it later, and then later never kind of shows up. So I'm gonna have to start getting those things out ahead of time, and maybe even get a new thumbnail out because I'm using the same one for the last few months. Ooh, hot, but it looks better than the previous one, so I'll get another one. Maybe something has some variety. Mix, like, rotate the 2 or 3 thumbnails. I don't need to reinvent the wheel every week. I don't really have that kind of time, but I am using Canva, so they do have some templates that you can use, make it easier for those of us who are not tech savvy. This is my watermelon juice. I juiced another big watermelon. I gotta go get some more. So how's everybody doing this morning? Hope you're doing well. Just as some chit chat. There's some things that I saw, but just in general, I was talking this week about various things with people, and I'm just talking today kind of about preconceived ideas, especially when it comes to health and wellness and just food and just stuff like that, and what notions that you guys have and what you've had to kind of stop believing and teach yourself or learn something new. Because I was talking to somebody, and it's like the whole conversation we were talking, and it's like when you're trying to, like, even if you're trying to lose weight or reverse a condition that you have or come off medication, the entire conversation is about deprivation. And I'm like, I think that's part of our problem. Why are we having a deprivation mindset? But before we get into that, always had to have a chicken story. So I let them out. I cleaned up the coop this morning, not as early as I usually do. They were quiet. I collected the eggs, went out just before the live, to see the other eggs. Usually I get 4 or 5 before 9. I see 3. And Pepper was laying. Pepper is the number 1. I said I'm not going to even move Pepper. Pepper gave me the side eye, and I was petting Clover, and then I gave her a little pet, and she always pecks my hand off. So I did not move her, not because I'm afraid of her, but because if I move her to see what's under her from the other chickens, she will make so much noise that she will give up your location. And she was looking at me like, if you touch me, I'm ready to blow. So it sounds like she's almost like a rooster, like she's loud, and it's not an egg song, it's a how dare you song. So I said, you know what, it's really not worth it. I saw the neighbor 2 doors over out. She seems cool, older lady, but I don't need to have all this noise on a Saturday morning when people are at home chilling and it can actually hear the drama. So I said, you know what, I'm just gonna let her sit there. I took the 3 eggs. Morning, G Mama. I put the tunnel out. I put out some watermelon pulp in their dish out in the run, and they're out there doing their thing. Also, what happened? Oh, my neighbor that has the 3-foot lawn, 3-foot high lawn and weeds, mowed the lawn. Good morning, Misty. Mowed the lawn this week. I heard some chopping from the kitchen window. So I knew somebody was using a cutlass. So he was trimming off from the gate to the entry kind of the backyard. I heard the lawnmower, so mowing was going on, but there was like the whole edging of the lawn, like the lawnmower can't reach there anyways, never mind when it's already 3 feet tall. So that hasn't been cleaned up. But one prayer has been answered. So that's been semi clean. So the mosquitoes have gone down significantly. I don't know about the ticks and other stuff, but he needs to get that finished. And this is the problem. When you leave things like that, it takes more work to clean it up, and it is more difficult and more frustrating. But we shall see. Never mind, I have to go to the rental property and clean up the outside and the grass because they are not cleaning it up. Over here, it's about to get loud soon. Did I tell you yet that they accidentally mixed in a what? Get rid of him. Get rid of him. You have to get rid of him. He got a raspy voice and is almost ready to start singing the song. Gotta get a collar. You gotta get rid of him. How did they accidentally? This is why I remember, because people always get chicks, get chicks. There's certain breeds that they can't give you a high rate of success of only getting hens. And I can't have a rooster. And I ain't, yeah, you're gonna have to get rid of him. You're gonna have to find a farm that wants a young cockerel and let him go about his business. That's terrible. You're gonna have to get. I know he's in your house, so maybe it won't be so bad, but you don't know. No, 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 no. He got to go. He's got to go. And that's the unfortunate thing when you're in an urban environment. You can't just take the bunch and go on about your business. The risk is too high. I had to make sure, guaranteed, that I had hens, only pullets. I absolutely could not have a rooster. So I don't know what you're gonna do because I don't even know what to do here. Let it grow to its full age and then cull it, but by that time it's making up pure noise. I don't know. I think you need 8. No, meat births take 8 weeks, but then maybe not. I don't know. You're gonna have to figure that out. That's kind of ooh. That's terrible. Your husband got attached. Get unattached. Nope. He gotta get nope. He got to go. The rooster is going to get you caught. If you're doing this on the down low, like I'm doing it, that is bad enough with the hens and their noise, but the rooster's gonna get you caught. Unless you know your neighbors and stuff are but no, they're noisy. I think even Fifi got rid of a couple of her roosters because she had like more than one, but they're too noisy. And they go and they make noise around the clock. Nah, man. The girls only make noise during the egg laying time, which is now. And the ones who lay later on don't make the big old noise. And I keep the radio on with, pop music to keep them entertained. But No, you're gonna have to get unattached. He's got to go. He's got to go because it's just gonna cause too many problems. Once your neighbors are complaining and they're making a issue out of it, they're gonna make it a problem for you. So get get rid of that. Okay, what else happened that I want to tell you? I was on my mind, but I forgot. So the girl, yeah, that's okay. And I went to the parents' garden. They gave me a whole 5 gallon bucket full of like scraps and bad leaves and leaves with holes in them that were eaten up by whatever insects. Um, Swiss chard, bok choy, kale, all kind of stuff. And the onions there, oh my goodness, their onions are as big as a grapefruit. I don't know. Well, I know what they're doing there because I do it. I help with this garden, but man, it's rich. It's just huge stuff. So I took the bucket, I dumped it in the run. I would say Wednesday, I think Wednesday or Thursday. Um, and everything is gone. It took them about a day and a half. Was it 2 days or, or just a full day? Maybe a full day. I can't even keep track, but all the greens are gone. With all the scratching and eating, it's everything's disappeared and just the mulch is there. So this is what I keep saying. People want to say, "Oh, it's about the eggs." No, it's not about the eggs. Eggs are good. I eat eggs, but I don't eat enough to justify me having 6 girls. But the compost, I would have to wait to put them in the compost bin and wait for it to break down. I don't have to wait for it to break down. Their droppings looked a bit green. That's all in the rich compost now. Gonna break down in the run. Then anything in the coop part, I dump in the compost bin, and let that break down the old fashioned way. But like they're eating good, they're happy. I'm getting pretty much 6 eggs a day. I can tell 4 of their eggs who laid what eggs. The rest, the other two, not so much. 3 or 4, I can tell whose egg it is. So they're doing well. The noise isn't too badly. I was so nervous the first couple of weeks, but now I'm like, if they make some noise, I really don't. I'm not bothered by it because I don't hear my neighbors making an issue out of it. They have dogs and all kind of loud barking, so it's pretty much okay. What else happened? Oh, last week I went to a retirement slash birthday party at this place in the north. So it's way past the feed store that I usually go to. And there's another feed store, which I went to once in Niagara, called PV Mart. They have a couple of locations in Ontario. So I went to another branch over there. What I found strange though, because I went to the feed store first because it's near where the party was, because they live way up in the north in a nice 1 acre property. Yeah, but he said just about 1 acre. So when I bought the feed, I bought a different brand. I'm trying a different brand. Good morning, Yaya. I'm trying a different brand this time. They asked for my phone number and my name. So I gave them another phone number, not my cell number, and I gave them my first name and then a initial. I didn't give them my full last name. But with enough digging, the police can certainly figure it out and find piece it together. So it's not like it's like they can't find me, but I found it strange. But then I think the other store that I usually go to has my information too. I think they usually ask for your phone number, but I don't remember, to be honest. But then again, they can, with your credit card, they can check. But I just found it strange. He goes, yeah. I go, what? He goes, yeah, anytime you buy feed, we need your phone number. So I don't know if it's for recalls to see if something went wrong with the feed. They can contact you and let you know like that batch was not good, or whatever the issue is. But I just found it a bit like, okay, when I buy cat food, I don't have to give my information. I guess once you go into a farming store, it's different. But I found that a bit strange. So I don't know if you guys experienced that. That's a bit. Hey, she said, I found that a bit weird. Then I went to, and they had a lot of stuff there. Um, Probably if you're not into chickens, you're like, what the hell is this conversation? But anyways, we finish with the chickens. So I'm trying to find a more efficient way to do certain things. I bought what was in the store, so the feeder and the waterer. Now that I've been using it, I don't really like them. Um, And I saw other people doing like the DIYs and the 5 gallon buckets, but I just don't have a drill. I don't have those stuff, and I have to ask somebody. So just to avoid having to ask somebody, I just bought whatever they had in the stores. But I really don't like it because when you put them, even though you elevate them, even if I hang them up, they're like, "Oh, hang them up." It doesn't matter. I'm like getting irritated because I'm like, people are telling me aren't actually dealing with livestock. They don't know what I'm talking about. Unless you experience some things and you understand how animals work, you're just talking out the side of your mouth, and it's just irritating. Well, hang it. I go, even if I hang it, it doesn't change anything. I have it propped up on almost a 5 gallon bucket, so it's way above the ground. But when chickens are scratching, they're throwing the dirt all over the place. The mulch, it's just all over the place. So the waterer, where they put their beak in, that like reservoir, has mulch and dirt in it. You can't keep it clean. And I don't like, and I have to like brush it and wash it and scrub it because it gets grimy and slimy. So that's why people use the cups and they use the pecking, things. I don't like that. So I'm going to try something else. I've got my phone number connected to my address in Wisconsin instead of where. Oh, smart. So I don't like that. So I'm trying to figure that out because cleanliness is an important thing because the less you have to clean. And the reason why I'm thinking about this is because if I need to go away, which I do want to go away for a week or so, I don't want to make any additional work for the person who's watching the animals. I want to fill the bucket with water, and they have hey Gina, I have enough water for them for the at least a week, and the person can just wash the bucket out, clean it out, and refill it. I don't want to have them cleaning out the reservoir every day. It's going to become too much for people, and they're going to get irritated because they're doing you a favor. That's why I'm trying to find that solution. The feeder, same thing. The feeder, I cannot leave it with food because it's going to attract vermin. And as you guys, well, some of you know, chickens waste food. They spray it all over the place. They pick out their favorite pieces and splashing. And ain't nobody got time for that because I ain't paying for extra food. You're going to eat what's on the floor because I ain't giving you no more food. So now I have them on rations. And then anything else, they got to peck in the run. I add food in the run, like, the restaurant food, the watermelon pulp, any kind of, garden scraps that's in the run area, and they eat that. And any bugs, fine, but I don't have them on a lot of feed because it's wasteful. So I need a device. I've seen some devices. I was gonna buy one that has the holes in it, and then somebody put a complaint on it that inside of it got a bit moldy, and I guess because it's dark, it's damp. Um, that's not a good combination. So that's a no for me. So I'm gonna make one with a 5 gallon bucket and get the ones with the cover. So in the evening I can cover the holes, and vermin can't get in there. So this is my long story about the chickens. But when you start experiencing stuff for yourself, then you have to see what works for you, and you don't want to be having extra time for cleaning for yourself, never mind other people. It's going to make it too cumbersome, and they're not going to want to help. So you have to spend the money on equipment to make your life easier. They be hopping up to try to stand on the feeder. That too. I had to spray one of the girls with water because I was watching them. I give them the watermelon in a dish, and I expect them to eat, the from the dish. She wants to go in the dish and scratch. I'm like, well, like I'm a chicken talking to them, like they understand me. I'm like, why are you scratching? All you have to do is peck and eat what you want. Why are you putting your dirty feet in the food for everybody? So I had to spray her and put her in check. So I usually put a brick in the middle of the dish so that they can't reach across, but I didn't put the brick in there, and I can't find the brick this morning. I don't know where the brick is, so I had to put a piece of wood in the middle so that they can't reach over and walk in there. You have to know how animals behave, and I don't know what it is, but I know I'm a chicken. I'm not a chicken, but I don't want dirty feet and food. That just turns me off. So I had to, discipline her, and then she kind of got it. Like, okay, don't put my feet in the food. You can put your feet on what's on the ground, but once I put it in a dish, she needs to understand that no foot. Keep your foot out of that. Hey, Cassandra. So that's what's happening. But you have to observe what's happening. So, like, I don't always stand there and watch them because I've got to run back to work at my desk. But you have to watch what's happening because that's when you kind of see, okay, that's not working. That's not sanitary. That's not really, and and work out the problems. Now that we see the problems, my family's like, yeah, they agree, like get a bigger 5 gallon bucket so that the water can't get contaminated. Because the problem also is, and maybe, just talking because maybe you guys want to learn for your own self when you start. If I put apple cider vinegar in the water to keep them, as a medication, or I put like electrolytes in there, I don't want to have to keep changing the water because those things aren't cheap either. And I don't want the water getting dirty. So I want something that can keep the water from getting like backwash into it. And then the electrolytes and the vinegar can stay in there for, a few days. And if it's hot, I can just get up in the morning, put some ice cubes in the water to keep it at a cool temperature. But you don't want to be spending, money on all these extra vitamins and stuff. And then it's just like not working. Okay. Now, what else? Oh, something else came to my mind. So my family and I were talking. So I was telling them a story because I sold this lady some eggs who's at church. So they know who she is. I'm trying to keep up with the chat. So I said good morning to everybody. If I missed you, I didn't see you. One second here. I was turned off when I found out bunnies like to poop and eat in the same box. Yeah, man, I can't. Yeah, I saw the video. A few people have videos, so I saw it. Just a matter of I don't have a drill, so I do have I got I purchased a whole saw. Is it a whole saw you call it? But it's 3 inches. Anyways, if I buy the parts for it on Amazon, I think it comes with a drill attachment. So they're gonna do it for me. Because they realize now that that's better, and they can get caps on it to keep the vermin at night. So at night, I'll just cover up that. And then what I would do is leave a tiny bit of food in the actual coop part. And then the run would have the big bucket with the big feed in it. So that if I'm not there, someone would have to just cover those holes, or maybe not. Maybe I'll get vermin for a week. And then after that, when I'm there, I'll cover it up. But we're talking. So this lady, she didn't know I was selling eggs. And one of the chickens is actually named after her, funny enough, but she didn't know I was selling extra eggs. So she, the last few weeks, she bought some. So she told me that basically I use recycled cartons. I have bought some cartons from the feed store, but then it's like, but as soon as I bought them, everyone's bringing me their old cartons because they know what I'm doing. So when they buy eggs, they'll bring me like 3 and 4 empty cartons from eggs that they've used before. And so I'm recycling the cartons, and then I have a sticker on my carton saying, please return the empty when you're finished. So I'm getting the cartons back. So she gave her son, the carton of eggs. And I don't know if people are explaining to their people, that they're getting like free run, like farmer, quote unquote, farmer eggs or fresh eggs, because he was looking at the expiry date on the carton, which is probably like 8 months ago or however long ago, because we were collecting cartons from before we decided to get chickens. We're like, okay, we're going to keep the cartons because if we're going to get them, we need cartons. So he's looking at the carton saying this expired like how much weeks ago? Like, really? So, and it said white eggs on the carton, but obviously in the carton was not white eggs. It was a myriad of beige, pink, and brown eggs. So I guess he's like, okay, then I guess it's not expired. So then my family's like, oh, well, maybe you should put a note. And then I go, so I said, excuse me, family. No, I will not be doing that. I will not be doing all the extra work. That is ridiculous. So they're like, listen here. I've done customer service all my life. I'm tired of customer service. I'm tired of customers. I'm tired of service. So anything that revolves me doing extra like that, I'm not really in the mood all the time to do it. And I said this: if I'm selling you fresh free run eggs and you're passing it along to other family members, that's not my problem. I'm not running a business per se. I'm giving you access to whatever I can't or choose not to use, and giving them access to high quality eggs. I don't feel, and this is part of the actual topic of preconceived notions. We have these preconceived notions. And part of it, especially when it comes to food and food supply chain. Hold on, let me sip. No, I don't think he threw them out. I think she told him, no, 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 it's from so and so and so and so. But that's the point. If you're going to buy fresh eggs, good morning, FR Humphrey. If you're going to buy fresh eggs, let the people know that, hello, I'm not. The reason why I didn't buy cartons in the first place is that when I talked to people, they said they'll bring me cartons because cartons are 60 cents a piece. So it's either I'm going to charge you for the carton, or if you keep bringing me cartons, I can keep my price pretty much just for the eggs itself and not the carton. And if you don't mind recycling and bringing them back, and because most people when they go home they put them in their like acrylic case, they don't really have them, or the fridge has a built-in shelf for eggs, and they empty the carton immediately, and it's not really in the fridge or anything like that. So I don't think people have a problem with it. So they said they didn't have a problem. So that's what we did to cut the cost down. So so they're like, my family's like, oh, well, do this, that, and the third. I said, I'm telling you a story. I ain't doing any extra work. So they're like, but nothing. If you know you're selling a product, basically, when I give you eggs on usually it's on a Sunday, those eggs were laid that week. So they're either 0 to 7 days old. Because sometimes on Sunday morning, if they lay and I'm short some eggs, I'll just fill up the dozen, and that person's getting like eggs that were laid that morning. I don't feel that I should have to do anything extra, not because I can't, but because you're getting top grade product. If that's not enough for you to convince you that, okay, I'm gonna take what I get kind of and take the carton. If the carton has, other brands on it or has other markings on it, that's not the issue. It's the contents are from her thing. Some people have come here and seen them inadvertently. Some people have, when they brought the rabbit manure, they saw my pre-run days where I had the shed. They see what's going on. I don't think I have to write a note and put a sticker and let them know what I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. I don't think I have to convince people of the quality that they're getting. And that's the problem. We've been so brainwashed with this preconceived notions that, we don't get it. I lost a part of my drill. Turns out buying a new drill is cheaper than Yep, you're right. Buying a part is more expensive than buying a whole new set. But no, he didn't throw them out. I think he got it. But I was just irritated because my family knows I'm the kind of person that I'd rather hold the eggs and let somebody who actually appreciates them and wants them buy it versus just selling. Because she's like, oh, we can put them here, put them there. I'm like, no, I don't want to give it to people who don't appreciate it. Because, good morning, Marlene, there's work involved. And then the egg prices, I don't know what's going on in your cities, but the egg prices have gone down. Last year, people were like selling eggs and having all these memes with chickens with jewelry and pearls and all kind of walking around because eggs were like gold nuggets. And now the price has gone down. So you can go and get a pack of 18 eggs for the same price as my pack of 12. So people, be saying or whatever, oh, I can get the 18 pack for cheaper or the same price. Well, now that I'm involved with eggs, yes, eggs got cheaper. About $3 a dozen, $3 for 18. It's gone all the way down. But what people don't understand is the eggs that you're getting are already at least, and I'm saying at least 45 days old. At least. Because from what in the States, I know for sure that the farm has 30 days to get the eggs to a distributor, and then the distributor has so many days to get it to the store. So by the time you get it to the store, if you're lucky, it's 45 days. It could be even 60 days before it gets to a store. And then they've been washed and maybe even pasteurized, and then they're put in the fridge. So that bloom is off of it, and now it has an expiry date. My eggs are not washed. It has a protective bloom on there. You don't have to refrigerate them right away. It has a longer shelf life, and the actual quality of the eggs is better, and the nutrient density is better. But we're so brainwashed in thinking what the store has is better that we can't separate ourselves from the fiction from the truth, the nonfiction from the fiction. So I went to the expensive store for pasteurized eggs, you're talking about $10 a dozen. So I'm watching how people move and how they, what they're saying and what they're conversing. I told you about the lady who insists upon brown eggs because brown eggs are somehow healthier than the other colors. And I'm looking at her like, really? But this is the point, the preconceived notions of the food industry and even government, because the government is in bed with, or controls what the food industry can do, which is why they do what they do. I don't really blame the food industry as the instigator. I think they're dealing with what the government is pressuring them to do and producing, and they found ways to kind of make it more productive and more financially advantageous, and as a result the health is declining. I don't necessarily believe that they went into this as, I'm going to make as many people sick as possible and put out the crappiest product. I think they went into it with good ideas, but then the government and the rules and regulations kind of, and not even that, the mass restaurants who only buy things that look a certain way, it's made it more difficult. Good morning, Erica, and I think Monique. Good morning to you both. So that's what's going on. So, and then people, there's a lot of people I'm watching, especially Yaki. I watched him this week. He was live on Instagram, and he was talking about, even the definitions of things. A lot of things have been labeled as vegetables, but they actually are really fruits. Even things that I knew, so like, cucumbers and certain things are really fruits, but we classify things because I think it costs companies or farmers more if it was classified as a fruit. So they changed it to a vegetable. So now we've all been brainwashed to think a lot of these things that we're growing are vegetables, when in actuality they're fruits. So we don't even know what things are really supposed to be classified as. So when people talk about, because he does almost an all fruit diet, and people think, oh, fruit, sweet, oh, I'm going to get high sugar. And when he started going through, because people in my family are diabetic, so they couldn't eat certain things, kidney issues as well. That you're not allowed to eat certain things because your body can't break it down. So he was talking about, an all fruit. He talks about all fruit diets and how he's reversed people with diabetes and hypertension and all these different issues. And he has documented cases. Oh, let me drop the link because I haven't even dropped the link yet, just in case somebody wants to come in and add before I forget. And when he says all fruit diet, we just think, okay, apples and cantaloupe and stuff, sweet, sweet, sweet. No, it's not always sweet. Even he said quinoa is a fruit. Any seed bearing plant, and we're eating that part, it's a fruit. So I was like, wow. So it got me digging, because it got me curious and it got me digging. And then when we start going again into the rabbit hole, it's a whole new world. And then he's talking about, the pancreas, how your body breaks down things. And then we deal with the symptoms, but we're not dealing with the root cause. And that's a major part of the problem. And he was going through, like, we have to inform and be informed. And a lot of people even talk about, like, the fruit. Well, the fruit's sweet. The fruit has been bred to become sweeter over the years. That's part of the problem. Real fruit, true fruit, is supposed to be hydrating and cleansing, but not necessarily sweet where it's like sugar. Even sugar cane, if you're eating the actual sugar cane and you're chewing on it, like how we chew it and spit out the husk, that's not bad for you. There's nutrients and there's good things in that for you. But we've been so programmed now, like, oh, you can't eat this, you can't eat that, because it's sweet, it has sugar. But I was eating a chocolate bar almost every day at one point. Nobody stopped me from eating the chocolate bar. But you have a lot to say about me eating 2 bananas. Like, I don't understand. And it's only now, because even I was saying to this guy, oh, you shouldn't eat too much bananas because it's too sweet and this and that and that and this. And now I had to go back and say, oh, that wasn't really the truth. He was probably right. I go, but there's too much sugar. Maybe there was too much sugar if you're only eating that. But what's worse? We would go to work, we would eat a chocolate bar. We were known for the honey buns. Every day or every day we were having a honey bun. or some kind of cinnamon roll. Nobody stopped you with that. Nobody stopped you from putting 2 and 3 sugars in your coffee or your tea, and all these other things that are contributing. Um, it just we have to go back to the basics and delete what we've been taught because it's incorrect. What we have been taught was based on business practices to make their life easier for importing and exporting, and not having to pay duties and amps penalties and all these things when you go into import and export. It has nothing to do with the definition of the food itself and what it does to your body. I saw somewhere online where someone said that a banana was I don't even know. And I know that bananas have seeds, but I've never seen one with seeds. So I'm trying to find the bananas with seeds. Them birds tore my quinoa to shreds before they could harvest it. I did not know. Well, I did know, but I didn't realize. I've never experienced it. I let my brassicas go to seed. Sidebar. I let my brassicas go to seed. So now they're pretty much ready to harvest. When I looked at the kohlrabi and the early Jersey cabbage that was like sticking out through the mesh, I see like something's been like, it must be a bird, like it's shredding it to like straw. Because I guess they like seeds. So that's why I have so much birds in my yard, because there's so much for them to eat, even though the berries are covered. So I harvested most of the seeds. It's in a dish, drying out more to make sure that they're dried out. I harvested the arugula seeds and I let some drop in the pot. Those are coming up. I think it's arugula because I can't tell them from the weeds just yet. I planted some more stuff that was still overdue to plant. And just now before I came on the live, I saw some strawberry runners running out of the raised bed all over the place. So I put them in the dirt, and that's the blossoming. At my parents' garden, same thing. The strawberries, a half of that side of the garden is strawberries. If you want something that's going to keep growing, strawberries are one of your best bets, because it's hard to kill them off. They just keep pushing out, pushing out. Anyways, we have to relearn what we've learned, because it doesn't make sense. Oh, sorry, I missed that. Pure chocolate, even pure chocolate is not that. No, and dark chocolate is very good for you. I came to the knowledge, for me, not for everybody, but for me, everything in moderation. I think that's the first point of order, and then from there you start digging and researching, and maybe you'll find something that's more beneficial to your body. But there's too much. There's too many opinions. I don't believe, this is my opinion now, when people talk about, oh, you shouldn't eat this, you shouldn't eat that, you shouldn't. I don't think God has all this stuff on the earth growing for me to only eat 5 things. And I was looking into Dr. Sebi, his list of his food, real true food. I'm sorry. I'm not living on this planet and only eating those 5 things. As soon as I saw that, I said, no, I don't want to hear what he has to say. Hey, hands in the dirt. I don't want to hear what he has to say after that. I think I'm going to eat what I want to eat. There are over 1,000 varieties of bananas. Some are with hard seeds, some with soft, sterile seeds. And I think they bred them to be more of the soft, sterile seeds, right? I'm at the point where just eat what you want in moderation, and do your research. Obviously, don't just go out and eat things willy nilly. Maybe you have allergies. I don't know. But I don't think we have to stick to this list of 5 things and this is bad, this is not bad. No, I think the problem is that your body, your organs, your vessel has been poisoned, and now the organs and the cells are not working the way that they're supposed to, because you spent so many years poisoning it. And I think there needs to be more focus on cleansing your body versus arguing about what food we should and shouldn't eat. Because if truth be told, before, oh, coffee was bad for you, don't have coffee. Now they're talking about how good green coffee bean extract and have a cup of coffee a day and blah blah. Make up, they can't even make up their mind, because every time some new information comes out, everything in moderation. So I drink decaffeinated coffee. Then my coworker was talking about decaffeinated coffee. I'm like, oh my God, maybe I shouldn't eat it because it's chemically decaffeinated. So then she said, no, the one that we buy at work, because she was the one who works with the purchasing department, and she made sure that she goes, no, it's not chemically decaffeinated. It's Swiss water process. And she's the one who taught me about caffeinated versus regular. And she's like, if you're not going to get Swiss water, then just drink the regular coffee. That's less damaging to have it in its natural state, even with the caffeine. And then to start messing with stuff to make it quote unquote healthier, but you're making yourself more sick because you're exposing yourself to chemicals. So I started buying the Swiss water process and stopped drinking, certain teas as well, because these companies were spraying them to dry the leaves versus drying them naturally. This is what's making us sick when it comes to quote unquote healthy food. The food that we're getting that is supposed to be healthy, and we're arguing about, oh, you shouldn't have green tea. Oh, you shouldn't have so much of this. Oh, it's too much caffeine. Oh, you can't eat so much citrus because it's this. No, the problem is the food itself is not grown naturally anymore. The soil is depleted, and they're spraying some crap that we don't even know about on these crops. That's making the food dangerous to us instead of healing. That's the real problem, not the food itself. If we were growing things the old fashioned way, I don't think we would have half of these problems, but that's my opinion. Hey, David Corey. Yeah, exactly. Be in the garden before it's too hot. And I find that if we would listen to our bodies, by like when you eat in certain foods, how do you feel? I have not been drinking that much water. I've been drinking watermelon juice and whatever, morning, noon, and night. I haven't had any leg cramps in months. I had a leg cramp last night, but I think I was bending at my foot and doing some stretches, and I think I took it too far. I think I took it too far, but I haven't had any problems. I don't feel depleted. I was of the thing, oh, you gotta drink how much things of water per day to hydrate and flush. And then nurses were saying they were not doing that. They're not listening to that advice because they know from experience that that was flushing out all the good minerals. But we've been told for a long time, you need to drink so much water per day. When I finally found Eris Latham, who's from Belize, I think he lives in Panama. No, I think he's from Jamaica, but lives in Panama. Aris Latham, who owns the Sun Fired Institute, he believes that he's a raw foodist. He eats his food in its raw state. The sun already cooked it as far as he's concerned, and he don't cook it any further. He hasn't, they did a video on him, and he didn't drink water for the last 30, 40, 50, I don't know, for years. He don't drink water. I said, what kind of foolishness is this? Let me watch this video. This man's lying. And he basically said he drinks coconut water and also watermelon juice. Watermelon, he calls watermelon a water bottle because the plant has taken the water from the earth, it's purified it, and now it's packaged in a watermelon fruit. We don't need to buy bottled water. He drinks coconut water from an actual coconut tree, not the bottled ones that we drink from here, but we get what we can get where we live. That's what he's been drinking. And that man's elderly. I think he can still climb a tree, and he's doing cartwheels. He's very active, very fit. These are the people we need to be listening to, the people who are still alive and healthy and living an abundant life, not the doctors who are giving all this advice and just spitting out stuff with no backing. So I'm like, you know what? This guy might be right. And then I'm taking all these supplements because I don't have enough of this vitamin, that vitamin, which is why I'm having these issues. So I'm taking these supplements, drinking all this water just to flush it out. We are so programmed, and we're not thinking for ourselves, and we're not seeing that these preconceived notions are blocking us from seeing the flowers from the trees. What we're doing doesn't make any sense. And it's not because we are not smart, but because we've been so programmed. Drink water, drink water, drink water. What water are we drinking? We already know the water's garbage. So what benefit is that to me? I think for me, I'd rather drink the coconut water. It's in a plant. It's less interference from the powers that be with me drinking coconut water versus the tap water and even the bottled water industry, which is just cleaned up tap water that's labeled as spring. There's too much lies going on in society, and we're not thinking for ourselves. We've given too much responsibility for them to provide for us, and we're not providing for ourselves. Let me just catch up with the chat. So everyone's just saying hey to each other. And if you don't know, if you type in weather in the chat and then the city or the state, it'll tell you the weather there currently. And if you want to see something else, another state, you can check it out. Does sugar cane need a lot of water? I don't know what you're asking, but I know if you eat sugar. Oh, hold on, let me go back up. She had a comment. I grew some sugar cane from seeds. Okay, I've never grown it from seeds. I know we grow it from the cuttings. Okay, then they're asking for seeds. I never heard of seeds, but you see, um, yeah, put the weather and put the city and the state, Monique, or the province, and it'll tell you. Oh, sorry, Erica said something here. I seen that video. He only drinks fruit water. I tried it last week and I've been feeling so much better and having more energy. Girl, that's how I feel. I'm having more restroom breaks, mind you, but I think it's because I'm really oversaturating. Oh, your VPN won't allow it. Shame. I'm feeling much better. Much I feel, and there's another video that came on my feed yesterday, I think, or the day before. Maybe even last night. I think I was up last night and I was just um I shouldn't have got on my phone in the night. You should not be on your phone, but I was on the phone and somebody was he was juicing. It was a couple, they were juicing and then they put something in the water and then in the green juices and when they put it in the green juices the light bulb turned on. So then they're like, how come it's not doing that with the water? And it's like there's no minerals in the water. There's nothing there. It's dead. So there's no electricity because we are electric beings. And the food that we eat should be electric and life-giving and and also have chlorophyll and take the sun's energy and convert to something that we can use. The water doesn't have that. Maybe back in the day, spring water did have that, but what we're getting now doesn't have that. So yeah, Eris Latham's done that. Somebody else did that. And I feel, people say, oh, you shouldn't drink that much watermelon juice. I was drinking, you know, it wasn't Kool-Aid, but it was equivalent to Kool-Aid. The powdered drinks that you mix for your fridge, the frozen drink mixes, the all the different juice mixes that you buy already prepackaged that has no juice. Because if you're buying juice from a shelf in the store that's not refrigerated, what is that? That's not juice. It can't go rotten. It has a year shelf life. That's not juice. I don't even know why I was drinking that garbage, but I was. Then you go to the refrigerated section and you have juice, and the first two ingredients are some glucose, fructose, and some other stuff. But we have it in our mind that that is juice. That's not juice. We need to start calling a thing a thing. That's not juice. That's a sweetened beverage. That's not juice in its true form or definition. Good morning, Baloo's Clues and Tree Rogi. I don't think I actually greeted you, so good to see you here. And it once you start going in the rabbit hole, it's hard. But we were talking, my friend and I were talking, and the other notion that we have is that we're depriving ourselves somehow by being healthy and eating healthier. And I don't agree with that now that I think about it, because I'm like, what are you depriving yourself of? Because you're not depriving yourself of taste, because the food that you get that's real, I'm going to call it real food, tastes 10 times better than what you're getting at the store, number one, because it's fresher. You're getting it at its peak ripeness, especially if it's local, and you're getting it in your kitchen within 2 days or less of it being picked, harvested, versus stuff that's trucked around the nation or flown in from overseas. You're getting it fresh. You're not sacrificing variety, because the varieties that I'm growing, I've never personally seen in my stores here. I haven't been to every store, I haven't been to every area, so maybe they have them in the richer areas, but I've never seen Paul Robeson tomatoes in the store. I've never seen Mortgage Lifter. I've never seen Cherokee Purple, the Star one. I've never seen, like, the some of the cherry varieties. I've never seen any of those varieties in the grocery store. So what am I sacrificing when you're eating healthy? But we say these words and we convince ourselves of these things, and it's not true. It's she's just talking about it takes a lot of sugar, a lot of water, sorry, drip feed. Coconut milk is great, but it's a tough to milk a coconut. Well, and I'm going through what I was eating when I'm doing, and also preconceived ideas. And the labelings of things and what we call things, or what we've been trained to call things, is part of the problem. So juice is not juice. So I'm not going to really call it juice. I'm going to call it a drink or a beverage, because you're training your kids and the young people to think, okay, that is juice. No, that's not. Nothing was juiced in that product that's on the shelf. There is no fruit of anything. There's concentrated syrups, natural flavors, which is basically a whole bunch of chemicals put together to stimulate your senses to taste like a fruit or vegetable or whatever. But there's no such thing. No such thing. Natural flavors are not natural. So we have to understand that that's also another lie. And you're convincing yourself, oh, it's good, it's good, it's health. No, it's not. You're right. Nothing's like fresh squeezed juice. Nothing. I make right now it's watermelon juice, or I'll mix like a honeydew melon with stuff. I have a pineapple in the fridge of juice with some fennel and some mint leaf. Oh my, when you use your own mint leaves in these blends, you can't, it's kind of hard to go back to the crap. Then my friend and I were talking about, like, what else do we sacrifice with eating healthy? You're not sacrificing quality, because you can't compete with the quality you're getting. Even if it comes to meat, the dairy products, if you eat dairy, it tastes better. And the other thing is, the only thing that you're maybe not getting, or you may think is a negative, is that when you buy things from the store, they don't rotten very quickly. What you buy, you have to use quickly because it's going to start to rotten. But that's what's supposed to happen because it's actually real. There's nothing sprayed on it. There's no coating on it. It's real natural thing. And if it does go rotten, you put it in the compost bin, or if it's going bad, I now give it to my chickens and they eat it and they put it through a cycle. That's a mindset. We have a mindset that we have to deprive ourselves in order to make ourselves better. Not understanding that we don't have to deprive yourself of anything. The food that you're getting, that they're saying, oh, don't have too much this, don't have carbs, don't. So what are you supposed to eat? If you can't eat carbs, you can't eat this, you can't eat certain fruits because it has lectins, which is true. Things do have lectins, but they also tell you that if you cook certain things in a pressure cooker, it releases those toxins from that food, like beans and certain things. That's why Caribbean people soak their bean, like they do certain things that people think are ridiculous, but that's what has been releasing those gases from these foods that make it healthier for us to eat without us having upset stomachs. But there's a process to certain food preparation. But there's no, you can't, unless you have an allergy. Everything in moderation is fine. Now, as I said, when you start doing your own garden, growing your own food, or you're just exposed to healthier options, there's more variety. There's a million kind of potato. Okay, not a million, but there's a lot of different kinds of potatoes. There's purple ones, there's white potato, there's russet, there's this, that, the third. There's so many options for potatoes alone. There must be a variety that's better for you with your pre-existing conditions and health issues that you can eat. You can't tell me that having a potato that was grown in the ground, that has absorbed all the minerals from the earth, is worse for you than something else off the counter. Like it doesn't make any sense. Am I saying to have potatoes every day? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know where you live. Maybe that's all you can get. But it's certainly better than eating the fries from the Golden Arches. Because if you watch that video we talked about a few weeks ago, talk about it again, the amount of gases and chemicals that they use on those potatoes that they grow for that company, that the farmers can't even go into their fields for several days once they spray it because it's so toxic. But that's what they have to do because the company won't buy them if there's any blemishes on the potatoes. So we have to stop believing the lies and erase these preconceived notions that we have that are actually preventing us from getting healthy, because now we don't want to eat natural foods because now we think, oh, that's not good for me. Oh, that's not good for me. Says who? I personally stopped eating eggs and milk because of fibroids. It's hormones. Correct. I don't eat I don't eat fibroids. I don't eat eggs or dairy. I stopped eating that. Um, but I was watching this lady. I don't even know her name. I just know she's on a lot of my feed lately, and she doesn't recommend that either. But at the same time, is it the milk she's saying, or is it the way the milk and the hormones that have been put into the animal? Because if you go back in time, it wasn't this much of an issue. And when I was looking at the fibroid issue, a lot of the foods that we were eating that were on the list of good to eat if you want to prevent or shrink your fibroids, if you're getting food, I told you guys last week, I've been soaking a sweet potato for since February. And I watch all your guys' videos, even hands in the dirt. Yep, he put it there and the slips are just coming out left, right, and center. I did not get one slip off of that potato. I finally got a root and I put it in the dirt outside. It's been in that pot since how many months? It's now end of July. I finally took out the potato and threw it in the compost bin because it ain't doing nothing. But you're supposed to eat sweet potatoes because it's good for you when you have fibroids. Not that potato. Because if that potato is not even growing slips, that's concerning. And I know they have anti-sprouting stuff, but I've never seen it on a sweet potato. I've always seen it on regular potatoes. I've never seen a sweet potato not sprout. I've never experienced that ever in our life, but I experienced it now. And the ones that I have in the kitchen, a bag of sweet potatoes, the whole bag is full of eyes, full of run of starts. But it's too late for me. I might put a few outside, but it's really too late for me to really get a harvest. So I'm just kind of like, whatever. I'm gonna just pop off the sprouts and just make some potato fries. But that's the real problem anymore. Problem now. The hormones that are in the food, people are blaming, and we're told, and they're not lying. Like the eggs and the dairy and stuff, yes, you have to stop, but they're not telling the behind the scenes. Where are the hormones coming from? It's coming from the animal feed. Some of these farmers are feeding back things to the animal that they shouldn't be eating. Hence, how we got mad cow disease in the first place, because we've left the basics and the natural way of doing things, and we've gone and when humans get involved in too much stuff, we spoil up the thing. We spoil the thing and make it worse. We're supposed to do things the natural way. Hold on, someone sent me a message. Let me just make sure it's not urgent because they don't really disturb me. Okay, I'll just read that later. It's not urgent. So this is what I'm coming to understand. So I'm not. It is correct. I had to stop eating certain foods too, but why? Something's natural. What's like back in the day, people ate these things like with no problem. Why is it a problem now? That's the real issue. Why are those foods a problem for us now? And the problem is what we're doing, what we're feeding them. And you know, yeah, I agree with you, Marlene. Eat better quality foods, and that's gonna make the difference. Um, she said no canned food, it's frozen or fresh. Yeah, I do eat canned occasionally, but not often. I try to buy what's canned labeled organic, but even down to let me just hold on, let me catch up with the chat. Um, I'm slowly replacing sugar with fruits and berries. It's a struggle to get it out of my system. I don't know about you. I don't I have white sugar in my home only for baking, really. Not really, I don't really consume it. I have had a few teaspoons here and there, but not really. I don't really like stevia because it does have an aftertaste, the powder, but I did try it and it's okay. I use agave nectar, but even some people said that wasn't good, but I use agave nectar. I do use maple syrup from time to time because it adds like a molassesy warm taste to what you're sweetening, and it's not even about the sweetness; it's about that depth of flavor. I use monk fruit sweetener, the La Canta brand from Costco because they have the biggest bag for the most reasonable price. La Canta tastes more like white sugar, so I would recommend that if you really like that white sugar taste. I do still buy brown demerara sugar, Again, I don't really use it, but if somebody comes or I have to bake something, then I like to have those things already here. I use honey for sure, unpasteurized natural honey. I think that's a medicine more than a sweetener, so I don't really count that, but honey, and I think it's about it. So I don't know if you try those things, but I would recommend all of the above. Avocados I bought last week never ripened. 4,000 series. Took them back. I have not grown gooseberries. I don't think I've seen the plant here. I have raspberries now though, and I'm gonna get some. I'm gonna go to the stores now that it's kind of getting into the end of the season over here in Ontario, and see if I can get some plants on clearance, because that way I can get them planted for next year. Yeah, that potato was sprayed. That potato was so sprayed. Nothing would. It was out for the last 3 months in the rain, in all this natural. Nothing. The weeds were growing around it in the pot, and nothing grew from that. And the thing about it too is when I threw it out, it wasn't really all that rotten. It was kind of rotten under the dirt, but it really wasn't all that rotten. That's concerning, considering you're supposed to eat sweet potatoes. So I'm not gonna sit here and argue with nobody. I think you're right, and I'm right at the same time. You shouldn't eat these things, but the real issue is not the item itself. I think it's the way that we're raising them, what's happening behind the scenes. I watched a video this morning with this guy. I think you guys know this man. I don't know the man's name now. Nick something. Anyways, don't worry about the name. This man, and he was talking about the interview he did with this particular farmer, and the farmer's a well-known farmer as well, but I didn't really know him till I watched his stuff, but I didn't know his name. And they were recommending the FDA, or one of them. Well, I shouldn't even say this, one of those three-letter groups in the states that oversee stuff was recommending that if something happens to one of the beef at that time, to mince it up and feed it back to the rest of the cattle. And then he was like, that's why you have to trust your own mind, because sometimes these people come to you and say, oh no, this is the best way, this is a new way, it's so productive, it's going to help. And then you feel like you're antiquated, and maybe you're the one with the problem. No, 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 trust your first mind. He's like, that doesn't even happen in nature. If, like, chickens will eat each other if you're in there too long and you're not moving, they'll that happens in nature. So for someone to throw something in a chicken run and let them eat the flesh is not unnatural. It may feel odd to some of you, thinking, oh, that's gross, but that's what they would do in nature. So that's not odd. But putting that with on a cow pasture and feeding it to them, and then that's exactly how mad cow came into play. Then people say, oh, you shouldn't eat beef. Is it really the beef, or is it really what's happening behind the scenes? Because if things are done in a way that mimics nature, we wouldn't have these problems. So I'm trying to go back to, and I thought I went back to more natural, but really some of the stuff that we're buying is they lying through their teeth. They're not natural, because they're not sprouting, they're not seeding, and the things that you're doing to kind of test it out, nothing's happening. It's not even real. It didn't even rot in. Do you know how long something has to sit here for, and it still hasn't rotten, and you don't see nothing wrong? Like, something's not too, that's not food. That's Star Trek, that when they computer, give me this, that, and then it vaporized something on the tray and they ate it. That's what we're getting. That's what we're getting. And when you start to look at the rules and regulations that I'm even watched this morning in this documentary, this podcast, the rules and regulation from even Canada, province to province and state to state, within the same country. Oh, you can't move this over there without doing this, that, and the third. And then, some of the farmers are being treated worse than drug dealers. Oh, you didn't get your stuff approved to move here and move there. And then the officials are going to the butchering plants and stopping um, your animals from going through the processing because you didn't do this, that, and the third. And then they don't take care of your animals while they're doing the investigation. Like, You have to see. We're in a system that's just really wicked. But let me just read the chat and I'll catch up. Okay, you seen gooseberry beluscos? Okay, I'm gonna. I don't think I've ever had a gooseberry. I don't even recall eating one, but I'll check it out. I tried the jicama, but the freaky frost killed them off. We had some weird weather. We did have some weird weather. Um, I think this year is gonna be bad for a lot of food. Gonna lose more small farm. Yep. The politics and the politrics are very bad. My niece is 10 and looks 18 from fast food and yep. And then I in my feed again, I mentioned this a few weeks ago and it's still a problem because it came on my feed again and the date on it was this week and the article was again this week, so it wasn't like a repeat of the same things again. The frozen fruit, because I like frozen fruit because I like to make smoothies, so I stopped because the strawberries were contaminated with hepatitis C, I believe it was, or B. Anyways, one of the hepatitis them. Now they recalled more than just the one brand. Like all the stores have different brands and they're recalling all of it. So after the first recall, it's still happening. Like, come on. Let me just quickly see late frost and this crazy heat and the on and off rain. We're getting a lot of rain over here, and I had to still water my plants. Go figure. Again this week. And I told you guys last week, again this week. Some of the pots were dry as dry, like a desert. You have the good stuff. That's the real simple syrup. Yeah, I try to get the good stuff, not the pancake syrup. Pancake syrup is not maple syrup. In case you guys didn't know, that's just foolery. Real, the natural maple syrup. Local honey is good for helping your allergy. Yep, it's excellent for helping your allergies. But everyone's like, "Oh, sugar, sugar, sweet. It's bad, bad, bad." Everything in nature can't be this bad for you. Like, think about it. Everything that they tell you that is somewhat natural is bad for you. No, I found some honey with the comb. I've never had the comb in the honey. I've never had it. I heard it's delicious. And that's the next thing I might even get into. I don't even know. Like it's not really on my mind, but maybe even yeah, doing bees. Because at this point, we're not getting the real stuff eat quite easily. If you buy salad that has triple wash, I wash. Yep, I have salad in the fridge right now. That's triple wash. I haven't eaten it because I haven't washed it yet. That's part of the problem. I'm gonna have to wash it today, spin it, and put it to dry. Um, because you cannot eat the food that says it's been washed. It's not washed. There's too much. Hey, Jason Ewing, there's too much stuff going on. It's too much stuff going on. Anyways, what else is happening? Um, just a lot of preconceived notions that we have that are really not good. And I don't know if you guys remember when the chef Jamie Oliver did a whole documentary of what's going on with the food system in terms of the food that's in for the schools, the kids. And I didn't know that milk was I was still drinking milk at that point too, because that was maybe I don't know if that's 10 years ago now or that's quite a while ago. That milk was already pre-sweetened. So your kids are getting used to how things taste and you wonder why you don't like the real stuff because what you're buying in stores that was labeled as milk, whether it's 2% or full fat or whatever kind you want to get, it's already been sweetened. Did not know that till he exposed that in his documentary. So that's why we're so, if that's the benchmark of sweetness and then that you think is not sweetened, that's why we keep craving because we're so used to having 4 tablespoons of sugar in something that when we have nothing in it, it tastes odd to us. Hey, African Dreaming, it tastes odd to us. But again, another lie. Good morning, Miss V. We're not getting things in its natural state. Then my friend and I were still talking about what else are you sacrificing? Like, because we have a deficit mindset. Oh, that you're losing out. I'm not losing out. I eat McDonald's from time to time, but really not often because I know it's crap, and when I eat it, I feel like crap. So That's enough of a reason I kind of turned off of it. But once in a while, I do like a filet o fish combo. Not gonna lie, I do like a filet o fish combo. But now that I know that the fries are so chemically, I'm like, man, they just ruined it. They ruined the junk food. You know, when you could have junk food once in a blue moon. Now they ruined the junk food. 'Cause I like me some McDonald's fries, not so much anymore. I'm gonna have to skip skip that. So I'm watching Instagram videos of how to replicate that without going to that restaurant. Good morning, Coach Mary Ma. Did I miss anybody? If I missed you, I didn't see you. I think I got everybody. And so they ruined, but when you change your taste buds, because we're in control of what we put in our mouth. I know there's a lot of ingredients that make things very addictive and make it worse than cry. I understand all of that, but we ultimately have control. And if you know you have no self control, like I know I don't buy certain things and have them in my house because literally it should be here for a week if I ration it every day. And before you know it, in 2 days, the whole thing is finished. I know I don't have self control with certain things. So I don't buy it. Because if I buy it, it's going to be a problem. And I pick and choose how much of things I'm going to eat or buy because you don't want to be a purist, like, oh, I'm never going to eat nothing. And then, you're one of those people who carry your lunch to family functions because you can't eat this, you can't eat that. You don't want to be I don't want to be one of those people. So from time to time, I do indulge, but they know I don't want to eat certain things because it's not what they say it is. It's garbage. You're poisoning yourself. The amount of people in my circle, and especially at church, who are or have gone through breast cancer treatment is astronomical. And I know they say that you throw a coin and you hit 4 people who've had some kind of cancer. You throw a coin, you have like numbers of people. Some people have even gone through it more than once. Something's got to give. What they're telling us can't be true, and we're getting worse results each passing year. Something doesn't make too much sense. Let me drop the link. I think it may not be in the chat anymore because it's been dropped a long while ago. Let me just drop it just in case. So and people are so hard and fast, like it has to be this way, it has to be that. I'm not arguing. We can all be somewhat right about something because we're all getting pieces of information and we all have different things to add to the conversation. But as it stands now in general, eat everything in moderation unless you have some kind of allergy or some kind of something against it. Grow as much food as you can because you're not missing out by not eating what they're selling us. You're not missing out. There's so much more options and variety and taste. And if you're into food and you into flavors, you get so much more from growing your own, or if not your own, connecting with a local farmer. Because we can't always grow and do everything on our own. It's not always feasible. And, but look at the people who are aging gracefully. Look at people, a lot of people end up becoming vegan when they become a certain age. Because even my own grandfather, when he was still here, he was still in Jamaica, we were here. So we weren't like around him. And they were saying that he even was cutting back on meat. Like when you get to a certain age, your body kind of stops craving certain things. You have to listen to your body because your body knows what it needs. And maybe your body can't break it down like it used to, and so your body doesn't crave it. And he was eating high quality meat. He was still in Jamaica. He wasn't like he was eating the crap here. And that's just how it is. And you see, and a lot of the people that I know, one lady's in her 90s, she used to eat meat, but she stopped eating meat a long time ago. If she ever shake your hand, she'll crush your bones. She would crush your bone. She have a firm handshake. She's still driving. My dad is still driving. People want to make it seem like when you get to a certain age, you're useless, you're decrepit, that's not really true. You can still be vibrant, healthy, but I think the food that we're eating and the advice that we're taking is becoming very problematic. Let me just catch up here. I try my best to eat at home. Takeout is unhealthy. Takeout, even, yeah. And I complained at church when we had the annual meeting, and I said to them, We need to start when we have our functions, because when you're involved in a church, like there's always some kind of function, some kind of dinner or banquet, and so having big anniversary part. There's always something at the church, and it revolves around food, and it's always 15 different kinds of meat, and they might have some fish for the fish eating people, and a lot of gravy, and a lot of, and I'm like, it's not even that, because I'll have a little bit, I'll indulge. But I said to them, you guys need to have more options that are not so heavily meat based. I said, even though I do eat meat, I don't want to have to come to an event and every dish is meat, 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 meat. It's off putting, because if people don't eat meat, you're excluding them. And it's now 2023. I think we can make things more like, if not labeled quote unquote plant based, but you don't have to put meat in everything. So I went to the retirement party on last Saturday, and they had vegetarian options, but there were dishes that were non-vegetarian. So, they had the oxtail, they had the curry goat, they had the this, the that. They had rice and peas, white rice. Then they had a stir fry. The stir fry had chicken in it. So the vegetarians could not eat the stir. All they could eat was the rices, and then they could eat fish for those who eat fish. Then they had curried no, they had curry eggplant and cauliflower, which I ate some. It was delicious. And they had some kind of bean thing. But I said to them, and I don't want to be a complainer, but I'm just going to say it, because I'm not going to keep like pretending. Why would the person who made the stir fry put chicken in the stir fry when there's already jerk chicken, there's jerk pork, there's all the different meats, and they had another chicken? Why wouldn't you make the stir fry vegetarian so that people who don't eat meat could still eat the stir fry? Like it didn't make sense. How are you making chicken stir fry and you have 4 chickens on the side there? So they don't like when I come to events, but I really don't care, because I'm not vegetarian, but I could see myself moving towards that direction. And if people aren't catering and making the dishes more generic and not putting meat in everything, when you already have meat and gravy on the side, that you like, it didn't make no sense. So all you're saying is, here, vegetarians, you have to have carbs, the 2 rices, and then these things over here. And then fight broke out, because there's always somebody who wants to eat the fish that is not a pescatarian, but they want the fish because they see the escabeche fish there, so they want the fish, and then all kind of something. Anyways, that was another story. But this is what happens. Like, we don't have to keep putting meat in every dish. And then the reason why I don't really eat from people anymore, I'm already scornful, a typical Caribbean scornful person, but I don't use table salt. And you don't know these people are just putting salt in the food, regular salt. I use, the sea salt, pink Himalayan, or Celtic salt. So they're using, regular salt, and they're over salting the food to compensate for lack of flavor, because they're not putting the herbs and the natural flavorings. And then some of these people are putting sugar in the food to give it that sweet taste, even, with past, it cuts the acidity. Yeah, you don't have to put a whole half a bag of white sugar in it. Like, I don't cook that way. I never have, even before I was on this journey. I never have. I wouldn't mind putting a little teaspoon of honey in there to cut the acidity, but if you buy certain tomatoes, then you won't have that acid in the first place. But they put these things in the food, and you're eating the food, and you're just eating sugar and syrup and salt. Your body is telling you things. You just have to listen. Yep, your body is telling you. Listen to your body. Don't be listen to other people. My aunt lives to 102. She stopped meat and bread. That's what I'm saying. When your family gets, my dad is in his 80s now, and there's certain things he doesn't eat anymore. And then people have to cook and send your family member food. I said, don't cook for him unless you know what he can eat. And they send him all his food. I said, so I have to tell off a few people, which is not the first time I've told off people. Like, really, I do it every day. But stop sending him fried food. We don't fry food. Oh, I didn't fry it. I just did a little something. You fried it. I'm Caribbean. Everything them say is not fried is fried. Escabeche is fried. Brown stew is fried. Everything they make is fried. And fry it with all this oil first, and then make a great. You fried the food. We're not eating that. We grill our food, And then we put the brown, like I make it different. I don't do it like how traditional Caribbean people make it because I can't eat them fried food. Then they're using vegetable oil and corn oil. Do you know how toxic those oils are? None of them are using avocado oil. They're not using all the good quality EVOO. They're using the low grade oils. We cannot continue doing the same thing we've been doing and think we're gonna get different results. I'm struggling to leave. Listen, I ain't leaving bread. I'm never leaving bread, G Mama. Never. I eat sourdough bread. I eat rye bread. I have a bread machine. I can make some. Um, I made some brown flour with what's that other flour that's so dry? The flour is dry, dry, dry. Something with a C. Slipped my mind. Some other flour. It's very dry. Not. I want to say quinoa. It's not quinoa. Not whatever. Some flour. You can make your own bread. Very nice. I'm never stopping to eat bread. Never. Like, hey, Nikki, what can you eat if you take? I took out bread for a minute. What can you eat without bread? You can't have a sandwich. You can't have toast on the side with your eggs and whatever. What can you replace the bread with? I need bread in my life. And I told the lady, I said, I need bread. So you need to find a solution because I'm not going to stop eating bread. Okay, we'll eat sourdough, eat the rye bread. You can buy, there's German bread that you can get that's made with spring water and no salt and no sugar. It tastes like it, but once you get used to it and you put, your food with it, it's fine. I had to have that when I was doing the very first Daniel fast that we did. I think pumpernickel or some kind of, there's different grains that you can buy. It's an acquired taste because you're not used to eating it. So you're thinking, oh, it's not like it tastes bad. It's just that you're not used to it because you're used to having bread. And most of the bread, that if you look at the ingredients, I did not realize sugar is one of the first three ingredients. You can buy bread that's made with no sugar and no salt. You have to reach, and the bread that you're buying is not going to stay on the shelf. There's some bread that they sell only in the freezer section. And you may say, oh, that's not fresh bread. I'm not buying it. I'm buying the bread on the shelf. No, the one in the freezer is the one you have to buy because they have to freeze it because it's so fresh that it will start going moldy in a couple of days. It cannot be shipped just, regular because it won't make it to the stores without being moldy because it actually has no additives and no preservatives. The fresh bread that you're getting off the shelf has all these things in there that have nothing to do with food. They shouldn't even be put in anything that you're consuming. That's another lie. But we're so used to, oh, my friend was saying, oh, I want to buy the fish that's the fresh fish. So I said to her, this is a couple of years ago. I said to her, what fish is fresh? We don't live near the ocean. We're not like we're in Nova Scotia or New Brunswick where we're near the ocean. We're inland. So anything that they buy, if they don't freeze it, how are you getting fresh fish? All they did was freeze it, defrost it, freeze it again, defrost it 3 and 4 times. You're not supposed to do that with your meat. You're supposed to keep it at the temperature so that it stays fresh. So I told her, you don't buy your fish fresh. We're not at the seashore. People who live at the seashore can buy their fish fresh. You have to buy your fish frozen. And when it says wild caught, they caught it in the wild, they froze it, package it, and they're bringing it to you. We have this notion that if it's frozen, it's not good for you, it's not fresh. Well, when it comes to the fruit with hepatitis C, that's not good for us. But in general, they're freezing it at its peak ripeness and its peak freshness. So the best thing that you can do if you're not in a place where you can get the fresh stuff is to buy it frozen. Because what you're getting fresh has been defrosted 50 million zillion times. And when you defrost and freeze again, there's a risk of different bacterias. That Debat said he ain't repeating that. He said that? Nightbot got an attitude now. I wasn't watching it. Same thing. Everyone eat meat. Something. Oh yeah, and exactly. So I'm trying to get. Hey, D-Mood. I'm trying to get people just to think, and it's in the community, everything is meat, meat, meat. And again, I do eat meat, but I don't eat the garbage meat. I was talking to my coworkers. They called me this week. We're working on a file, and then after the file, we just started talking for a little bit on the call, and they're like, I said I'm not eating that much meat. Somehow it came up. I don't remember. And I'm like, why? I go, no, I'm not anti-meat. I enjoy some meat. I do enjoy it, but I go, like, do you smell it? It just stinks. She goes, you know what? She goes, I can't stand the smell either. Something changed since we were kids to even now, never mind before. And the color is not right. The fat on it, and then it's just chicken is not doesn't look good, doesn't smell good. So she was talking, she goes, yeah, the same thing. It's just something don't smell right. You have to really soak it and marinate it because it just has a smell to it. And it's off-putting. Chicken didn't smell. I remember being in Jamaica and it's like they could butcher something and they don't have all this fancy refrigeration and stuff, but the meat never smelled like that. It never smelled like that. It didn't stink like it was just something, as you know, something's not quite right. So again, a lot of people are, oh, don't eat meat, anti meat. Listen, I'm not on that camp. I do think we could eat less meat. I do think we should eat less meat, but I think you need to focus on the quality of what you're getting. And I have no problem with people eating meat if they're doing it and growing it and raising it in a permaculture manner. I don't think that we're all the same. And some people may need meat for their body to get what they need to get. Well, you can get it from vegetables. Maybe you can, but not everybody has to. We don't. I'm not of that, literal, like, no. So I was watching a lot of people who were promoting plant based. I had to come off their channel because I'm like, it was becoming like a cult. It's becoming like a cult. But anyways, let me get to the chat and I'll continue. Um, and I'll probably till 11 because I gotta go and get ready again to go out. I'm from farming folk, and our forest consists of more than 90% of what we grow. We were considered poor, and today I'm proud of my generations. We have been eating the right things correct. Correct. I don't, yeah, vegetable oil is the worst. And that's why, I love a fried plantain. I love me some fried. I could eat fried plantain every day. Put it on a side, put it on a sandwich, put it with a meal. I love some fried plantain. But most people be frying the plantain in vegetable oil or corn oil. And most people use the oil about 50 million times before them throw out the oil. I don't do that either. So it's like I'm always the one that's kind of like a oddball, even though I'm not a vegetarian. I don't want meat oil that's been fried in 50 million zillion times. I put just enough oil just to make the pan a little not dry, but not deep fry. And then if you air fry it after to kind of, get that dryness, fry nothing. Gotta wonder what people are thinking at them town hall meeting. Yeah. So not coconut flour, but and coconut flour is good too. But there's so many other options. Um, I can't remember the flours. It's all I know is the flour I used it, and the flour is dry. If you're used to bread that's bouncy and chewy, that's not the flour for you. But I just can't recall right now. Um, yes, I do use that brand. Like they have them at Costco. Those crack, like it's gonna cost you more. And people are talking about costs again. There's again this notion to eat healthy costs you more. That is probably true, but it's also a lie because there's a lot of things that you can buy that is cheaper, but maybe you don't choose to buy them. I shop things on the clearance rack. I'm not buying rotten food, but I'm buying things that have been put on the clearance rack. And if you don't mind going and making that item that same day or that's, within 2 days, it's fine. I've gotten a lot of fruit and vegetables from the shelf that I use for juicing. I don't need to buy the top grade fruit to juice. I'm juicing it. I'm making a smoothie. I can buy what's on the clearance shelf, cut it up in bits, wash it, freeze it, or juice it and use that. There's ways that you can shop. Like, we had to, most of us who came here, parents, immigrants, had to learn to make things stretch, had to go to the stores in the evening when they were marking down stuff. Back in the day, they would mark down every evening because they would make fresh bread every day. and you go get the day old, the end of day bread in the bag for a flat fee. Like there's so much. Hey, lashes, there's so much things that we were learning to do, and some people don't even know how to. Some people are ashamed to go to the store with coupons, even though they have virtual coupons now. They feel embarrassed to ask. Me not feel shame. Me not feel- Everywhere I go, me not feel no shame. I called the cell phone company and said, "Listen, I heard you had a special." They go, "Yeah, we had X, Y, and Z." I said, "Listen here, what can you give me extra?" They're like, "Well, so give me your Boston, man." I go, I have my spiel. I said, "I'm a single woman and I have one income. I have to make my dollar stretch, and I have to get, and you guys are making me broke, and I can't afford these, and I don't care. I do not care. These corporations are making millions and trillions of dollars off of us, and they're gonna give me a discount. Come hell or high water, you give me a discount." So right now it's set to start on August the 5th. I'll be calling again, and this time I might cry, eat some hot sauce, and shed some tears and ask them for more discount. I'm not paying full price for nothing, food included. Oh, you're on way to church listening. Okay, I get my fish from the docks. Okay, because you're in, yeah, because you can exactly. But people like me, freezer. People in rural areas of Cameroon do not have all these ailments and have a longer lifespan. I hardly eat out. I travel a lot but carry my village habits. I cook, yes, cook your own food. And the one thing that many of us can talk about, let me just catch up with the chat. Give me a second here. You were being naughty and messing with. Yeah, I know. You were making some city names. I'm like, what are you talking about? So you. Hey, G-Quat. I had to unlearn bad habits that I need sugar, salt, and meat. I am only on fish now. Do what works for you. Exactly. But I'm of the belief that, I think in Cameroon they eat meat. It's the way we rate. We've gone, North America has gone off the rails, and we're doing some foolishness. And we think that we have to do it. It's the only way. That's not true. That use avocado oil. Hey, Shantirement. Some people don't use the avocado. What? Like, that's so expensive. Yeah, it is expensive. That's it. It's spelt. Thank you, D Mood. That's what I was trying to remember. Psalm. Spelt flour is dry. Dry. Those of you who like to eat fried dumpling, I have not. Maybe you have a recipe, but the flour dry. I use garbanzo, which is chickpea flour, and I mixed that with another flour, and I made dumplings for my ital stew. I haven't made it in a while, but I think I'm gonna make some ital stew because I have some family here from Jamaica, and they are Adventists and they don't eat no meat. So we don't mind eating a fully vegetarian meal. So I'm gonna make some ital stew and certain things, and everything is just gonna be not only just ital, it's gonna be like not white flour, not traditional salt, sugar, none of that crap. But it was spelt flour. I'm telling you, I love me some. It's expensive, yeah, but spelt flour is good. Hey, Sassy, but I find it dry. It like the bread was dry. Um, you must ask for deals. Yeah, you have some people just feeling embarrassed. Like, that's another lie. I go to the store and I have my stuff and my coupon on my phone, my price matching right there ready. And I said blah blah blah. And then one store, if the prices are wrong on the store on the sign, and you go to the cash and it scans wrong, the store here is not the blue store, another store here. You get the item for free. Miss. And now you have to watch when they're scanning because these people really overcharge you. Hey, living my best life at 60. I will eat meat, but only from my older folks because I know it will. Sorry, I will eat meat, but only from my older folks because I know it will. Yeah, and I'm very particular with the type of meat I'm eating now. I don't want to eat what I'm telling you. I don't know about you all, but it doesn't smell right. It doesn't smell right. And I'm not going to the expensive store and literally the price was ridiculous. It was so expensive. I said, you know what? I'm gonna have a salad because the price is too dear, it's too expensive just to buy that. And as I told you guys, the local store my friend told me had seeded watermelons. I have not seen seeded watermelons in my local store well over well over 5 years, if not longer. They don't carry seeded watermelons, but I guess the demand for it is hot and they had the jumbo size. So she texted me after and said, "Oh, I'm here. Do you want me to get one?" And then I didn't see the text right away. When I replied to her, she already left the store. I said, "Lord," because I'm telling you, all my juice is watermelon juice. And if you don't want it straight, you can put some little water in it to water it down. You can add Perrier water to it to give it a little fizz. And Perrier water is not sweetened. You can add tonic water. These are little tips. If you're backwoods, if you want to make it more, but really and truly, guys, please come off of the soda pop. Not just, I don't know if you've done the experiment yourselves. I've done the experiment where you take a rusty screw, and you put it in Coca-Cola, and then after a day or so, the cola it's the screws are silver. That's what's happening to your insides. And I know it's so easy to go to any machine, you put in a coin, you get a drink. Don't drink that. Don't don't drink that. Try your best to come off of it because the damage is really not good. And for my mom who's diabetic, they're like, okay, use the diet one. And my friend's husband diabetic. And I never really felt good about drinking that, the diet one. When you start doing more research about the aspartame and the other one or whatever it's called. I don't want to call it the brand name, but there's a brand name of the yellow packets that you use to sweeten your stuff. That's not sugar. And even I can taste the aftertaste. It tastes like stevia to me, but it's not. Your body does not know how to break that down. It just floats around your body like it's this foreign entity. You're not supposed to. You're better off. I'm telling you, you're better off just eating the sugar and done. If you don't want to have sweetener because of whatever reason, but you're going to these synthetic stuff, eat the sugar. You need to eat things that are real, things that your body knows how to process. The aspartame and all these other sweeteners that it doesn't, I can taste it a mile away. I had yogurt when I was still eating dairy, and I'm like, this don't taste right. Because you're buying sugar free because you think, okay, sugar free is good. That's another notion. That's a lie. It's sugar free, but I just added 10 chemicals to my diet that I didn't want to have in my body. But that's supposed to be better than the sugar. Nah, I'll take the sugar. I'll take the brown sugar before all that crap. Figure out what's going to work for you. We can't all be on the same diet. We don't all live in the same city. We don't have access to all the same food. But whatever you're going to eat needs to be real. You need to be able to spit the seed from the watermelon, plant it, and it's going to grow into a watermelon. You can't keep eating the same things and arguing about, oh, you should be a vegan. You should be plant based. I'm against meat. The video I watched this morning before I came on the live was talking about farming. And if you talk to, all the vegan sites and all the vegan social media pages, they're blaming climate change on farming. Now, I don't believe it's an absolute lie, but I don't believe it's absolutely true either. Like, you can't blame the entire global warming issue and all the pollution on farming. Like, really? We talked last week about the beaches in Texas that have high levels of fecal matter that were found in all 8 of the beaches. Was that caused by farming? No, it's caused by something else. They want to blame everything, every environmental issue on the food industry, the farming. That's not true. The problem is that we've modernized things to become more efficient, which is a good thing. But if the efficiencies are not following permaculture practices, we're causing more harm than good. And what we are noticing, and people are noticing, is that the soil is becoming depleted because we're not putting anything back and we're not taking note from nature and applying it. Let me just catch up with the chat before I move forward. Diet soda is worse than it is worse. It's worse. We were on it for like a minute and then we stopped. My mom's like, I go, this is not good. We're better off just having Perrier water with some fresh lemon inside to get that feeling of pop, but no sugar. You burn up your insides with soda. It's if I crave bubbles, I drink flavored mineral water. Start to do your own research because what I'm finding is, which you all know, but sometimes you learn more as you go on. It's just not good for you. They're not telling you. And to be honest, I'm pretty sure that's why a lot of us lately have been getting a lot of cavities. It's not just the sugar. There's other things that we're eating, and it was wearing down my enamel. So I had to do some other things because the toothpaste wasn't helping, and the fluoride certainly is not helping. Sugar free but sweet. So what have they added? Chemicals. Chemicals. One man at work, my former boss, he looked like, I'm gonna call him Humpty Dumpty because he really did look like Humpty Dumpty. You know when a man has an odd shaped body? He had an odd shaped body. He was my height. I'm about 5'5", 5'6" at best. Not overly tall, but I'm not short. And he was my height. 'Cause I didn't have to look up to him. And he literally was Humpty Dumpty. He had a neck, and then from the neck it just went round. And then when it got to the knees, it went back to regular. So it was just a round ball. And when he first came, he was replacing the person that was retiring. He's like, oh, he doesn't use a public washroom. Now, most of us don't like using public washrooms, but if you work 8 hours a day, I'm pretty sure you're gonna have to use the washroom. And he took pride in, yeah, no, I till I go home. So everybody, because there was a lot of Jamaicans there, and we're like, man, him inside must say rotten out, just disgusting. That's not normal. And he always used the yellow package sweetener. He swore by it. And I said to him, like, that's not really good for you. Like, that's not even real. That's what I use, and blah, blah, blah. And like that man wasn't healthy. The man was off so many days and going to all these specials, kidney problem. His kidneys are literally dying. Kidney not working, that not working, this problem, that problem, blah, blah. And the list was going on and on. You're eating all this fake food. And a grown man at that age went to the store to go buy them Chef Boyardee something. Him love them alphagetti and those kind of things. And his wife wouldn't let him buy them, but he would buy them because she wasn't there and eat them at work. I'm like, oh, take care, Blue's Clues. Sugar free, they add aspartame. Yep. And the proof is always in the pudding. That's what, like, you can't deny the truth. The man had a weird shape. The man wasn't healthy. The man, it was sickly. And all you have to do is do the opposite of what this man is doing. You don't have to do no research, just do the opposite of what he's doing. You can't eat fake stuff and think you're gonna, oh, I'm trying to lose weight. Weight is not always an indication of health and wellness. There, mind you, I don't think you should be obese either, but that's not always the first thing. Just because you've lost weight doesn't mean you're healthy. Your liver could be full of garbage. And this is what we need to understand. There's been a lot of lies. Oh, eat this, do that, do this, and then you're going to be healthy. Fine. Some of the stuff is true. Some of the stuff is partially true. Some of it's blatant lies. Ultimately, you have to listen to your own body and see what works for you. Because depending on where you live, certain things are more readily available. Fine, we established that. But eating real food, whatever it is, if you're a meat eater or not, fresh air, sunshine, exercise is going to help, and keeping your body hydrated. And when I was digging deeper, a lot of the problems that we're having, a lot of it's rooted in dehydration. A lot of it, because we're drinking all this water, all this stuff, all this soda pop. I love ginger ale. You're drinking this stuff, and you're going to the bathroom. You're urinating or defecating, but you're flushing out all the nutrients that you do have, what you barely have in your body, and you're not hydrated. Your cells are dehydrated, and they're taking it from other places to compensate. And instead of cluing in, you're doing the same thing, and you're not cluing in that this is not working for you. The water that we get, and as I said, I'm going to keep saying it. Tap water is garbage. I don't trust tap water. It's garbage. I can tell you right now, I told you guys before, when I open my tap, all I smell is bleach. They've increased the bleach in the water, the chlorine, in the last 3 years. Everybody who comes here can smell bleach. Not, I mean, here in my province, not here in my house, but everywhere you go, it smells like bleach. Those who live in the country don't like coming to the city to drink the water. They can it smells awful. Let me just catch up with the chat. Make sure I keep caught up. These are some basic things that we need to do. But back to the farm. The farming industry, there's a lot of lies. Like, I'm not in depth in all the facts, but what I do know is when mad cow disease came into play, they were feeding feeding, beef back to the cows. That's not natural. Then we do these things and we wonder why we're getting the results that we're getting. And instead of them solving the problem, which was what they started, they want to cover it up. Then they were suing Oprah for saying something against the meat industry and all these distractions. No, you're doing something that's unnatural. Cows are not meant to eat their own brothers and sisters. So if one cow keeled over, they were told to grind it up and feed it back to the no, you should feed that carcass to your chickens. That's a natural thing. Let your chickens and things like that eat the carcass. You don't feed it back to your beef, your cattle. But because we're not taking a stand, and it's not always their fault, the system is very challenging. And when they're against you, they will do what they can to shut you down, to pressure you to stop buying from you. So there's more to the story than just right and wrong. There's the business of farming, which is very corrupt. That's what's happening. So we're getting food, we're getting meat from other countries, from what I understand, that are labeled US or even Canadian, and that animal was not raised in our country, was not dispatched in our country, was not nothing to do with your country, and it's brought here, packaged, and it's labeled US or Canada because of the import export rules and laws. So you take that into effect, and other countries who are taking other shortcuts to make meat and grow it quickly to get it to market. This is what's going on. You need to buy local and support your local farmers, because if you don't, they're going to really go out of business. Large scale industrial farming is bad because they take short. Yes. And the reason why it's bad is when I was watching the video today, I grew up with farming. My aunts and uncles and stuff, they came from Jamaica, came here, and they were farming. Cows don't eat the grass down to nothing. They have enough sense to know they eat it down to a point and then they move along. And then it grows back and regenerates itself. Even without you moving them from pasture to pasture, they have enough sense to know, okay, this part's low enough, and they keep it moving. When they, you know, have their waste, their cow patties, we call them cow patties, flies come and they lay eggs, and there's larvae. Then if you have birds, if you have chickens, if you have even wild birds, they come and they eat the insects, the larvae, and chickens will scratch the manure and mix it with the soil. So you're building back the soil. You're not having soil that has no nutrients. But modern industrial stuff, they don't do that because they have to be more productive and it's more chemical. Even farming, I'm talking about animal raising and vegetable crops, not just one, both. And they're not using they're not watching nature, applying those principles in a modern way. They've erased those principles and they're doing it their own way. You have to put back into the soil. And while the cows move on to the other pasture, the soil gets to rest and regenerate. Time to regenerate. I think most people know, it's kind of common sense. You give your beds a rest. Now, some people don't because they're smaller scale and they're putting back so much nutrients, they don't have to give their beds a rest. But if you're a larger scale, I think it's every 7 years. That's what scripture says. You rotate and you give that a rest. You grow cover crops that put nutrients back in. They take things from the atmosphere and they put it back into the soil. There's all these principles that are not expensive, but they have to want to do it. And that's why you need to support the smaller scale. You are what you eat. So I'm not against eating meat, but the type of meat that we're eating, I can't eat it anymore. I'm got the farmer's number and I'm going to be ordering a supply of chickens from this farmer, the Amish farmer. and let's put them in the freezer. I cannot. I don't even want to handle that meat. It just stinks. Aspartame can cause cancer allegedly. This has been proven in So if something has been proven to cause the big C, the other big C, why are you still eating it? Why are you buying products that have it? As soon as I stopped soda and fried food, I dropped 17 pounds within 1 month. Not surprised. Do you know what sugar is in soda? And we don't realize, we see the videos how bad it is, but it's bad. That's too much sugar. Fresh air and sunshine is one of the best things it is the best thing for the human body. How many people are inside? You get up, you're in your house, you get ready, you go into your car. Most people don't even have their windows open. They have the air conditioning on. They drive to a workplace or to an office or to a factory, and they go in the building and they're there all day. And they might go outside to have a cigarette, maybe smoke, but other than that, they're in the building. And then they go back at the shift end into their car with the AC on, and then they go back into the house. And then you wonder why you're sick. I took building science in university, and the air quality in a building, even if you have all the purification, even if you have all the stuff, is one of the most toxic air you can ever breathe, because every product that you buy, curtains, shower curtains, everything that you buy is off gassing in some kind of way. The drywall, the paint that you use, the furnace, because I'm in Canada, so we have a furnace that's blowing, heated air. If there's dust in the furnace, it's going into your air. The carpet that you choose to have, the under padding, the everything that you have in your house. I'm just looking around, like, is off gassing and putting things in the air that are toxic. I'm researching longevity. So I'm doing what the people that live look what people do that live long. All that stuff is in your house. Now, if you live in a hot climate, maybe you don't have all this stuff that we have, but you have a sofa, you have the foam in the sofa, that's off gassing. What else is off gassing in my house? I'm looking around. The carpet, yeah, the cushions in the dining set, the radiation from the television, the mic. I don't use the microwave anymore. That's the other thing. Stop using the microwave. Hey, good eats. Did I miss? Hey, good eats. Um, the body washes that you use is toxic. The water, the soap that you're using, the shampoo, the conditioner, the toothpaste, the lotion. Some of us who use nail polish. I use nail polish from time to time. That's not good either. What else is toxic? The chewing gum. The chewing gum that I have right here. What does it say? With sorbitol, maltitol, aspartame, I can't even say that word, potassium acetylsulfame, something. Those are the first four ingredients in the gum to keep your breath fresh. You can't even turn your head and not find something that's bad for you in your own house. This is what's going on. I'm just gonna go down and see, catch up if I miss anything. When the fruit flies don't even want to land, girl, you don't. Exactly, the fruit flies don't want to land on the fruit. When it's not alive. Chickens and goats turn fields, and exactly. And I think what happened with the farming industry, from what I'm keep digging, all this monocropping that we do, like we just grow one thing and that's how we grow. The diversity is missing a lot. And that's also depleted the pollinators, which I have gotten a lot more in this last month, because all the herbs are going to seed now, like the dill, they like the cilantro. I saw this morning a bee on the flowering of the onions and the leeks. Some of us as gardeners do not let our stuff go to seed, because some of the stuff that goes to seed is annoying, because, like, for instance, chives, you'll have your whole lawn full of chives. Allow it to go to seed, a few of them at least, at the very least. And you don't have to let it go all the way where it flies away, but let your stuff go to seed. That's how these pollinators gather their food, and that's how you attract them to your garden. I saw the bee balm was attracting bees this week, and some other flowers I had. These the zinnias are up and out of them. They like the zinnias. They like the tomato blossoms, not so much the zucchinis. And I was just out there watching and noticing like what they're gravitating to. What else do they like? The sunflowers, they're around there, but they're not quite ready yet. And something else. But I'm seeing a lot more biodiversity, and some of the diversity is not really good. Like I saw a squash bug. Tell me if it's a squash bug, the one that has a yellow stripe, and they're on the zucchini. I think it's a squash bug. They're there, but I have so many birds flying around my yard, the robins and the blackbirds and the finches and the chickadees and all the different birds because they're eating the bugs. So even though there's annoyance with these bugs, if you have a balanced ecosystem, you don't have to use as much spraying, whether it's natural or not. You don't want to be out here spraying. But I do use diatomaceous earth just to get my squashes to fruit, because if I don't put the powder on the base, the stem, those bugs will put their eggs in there. It's a whole problem. Avoid seedless fruits, citrus, and melons. That's true, but it's also, it's not that it's not true. I try to buy things that are seeded. Maybe citrus is different, but melons, because seedless melons are, they're not GMO per se. They just bred them to make the next generation sterile. So it's not really literally like GMO as we would think it is. Not everything that's seedless is GMO. It's bred. It's what you call it? Whatever you call it. I can't find the word now, but it's not necessarily GMO. So although you try to avoid it, if you can't get seeded, then just have the seedless. You can only get what you can get. I can't always get seeded melons. I would rather eat seedless watermelons than to eat a bag of chips. So you pick the lesser of the two evils, but not everything that is seedless is necessarily GMO. And I can talk about that next week because I can't go into that now. I gotta get out on time to shower and get going. Um, but yes, I do agree to avoid it. Have things with seeds that can reproduce. But I also know that not everything that's seedless is necessarily GMO. Um, so let's not, good to hear because we belong to those who win resilient champions. In I'm scrolling down. Urban, that's the little C now. Yeah, the little C. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of people. Now back to the eggs that I was talking about earlier. So the person I sold the eggs to, their son, who's a grown man, saw the expiry date on the carton and was like, oh, but I'm reusing cartons. I'm not using, I have my own cartons, but I'm just reusing whatever cartons I get. So to make the cost cheaper, because I'm not gonna keep buying cartons. It's not worth it for me. So if you want eggs from me, give me an empty carton so I can keep reusing them. And the fact that people are weird. So I've made it clear to people because when my family goes, "Oh, just put a note in this," I ain't doing none of that crap. Okay? I'm doing this for us so that we have food to eat, meat to eat. We know how to raise animals. We're not living in fear from all these flus that they talked about, this flu and that flu. And you can't have birds because they're this, that, and then E. coli and alka. Listen, I didn't even know that birds all carry E. coli till I get the birds here. I'm like, what? Had I known, I probably wouldn't have gotten the birds. So I'm glad I didn't know. But proper hygiene, wash your hands, not just wash your hands. I have a brush under your nails. Keep the place clean, keep yourself clean. When you come in the door, you clean up yourself. I don't wear my shoes that I wear out in the street into the chicken area. I have shoes and rubber boots for that. I don't go with those shoes out to this. No, you keep your the place clean. You have to make sure that you're doing things properly. You wash stuff down. You have disinfect. There's a way that you handle yourself. You don't have to be oh, flu. Proper hygiene is really the problem. So I don't wash my eggs. And I told people that, but when you're passing the eggs down to other people, they don't get the memo. So I don't wash my eggs. I told people that. If you want to buy eggs from me, they're unwashed eggs. You wash them before you use them. Most of my eggs are clean, but from time to time, there may be a little bit of grit on it. I try to brush it off, but if it can't be brushed off, I'm not going to risk breaking the egg so that you have a perfectly pristine egg. They understand what they're getting. Sometimes there's a bit of doo doo on it, not often, but sometimes there is. Most times I keep those eggs for myself, but sometimes there's just not enough eggs that are perfectly clean. Oh, they have stuff to say. I'm at a point where it's like, I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing this for my small collective so that we got food to eat. And that's the problem I keep saying. We're so disconnected from food that we think that eggs are supposed to be all white and pristine and have a stamp that says expired by this date and this time. I'm giving you eggs that were laid in the last 7 days. You're buying eggs that are at least 45 to 60 days old. And you think I'm going to argue with you, try to compete? Either you want it or you don't want it. If you don't want it, I got 10 other people who want it. So I told you guys, but I'll say it again. My neighbor bought a carton of eggs for me. I gave her a free sample. I gave her half a carton, and then she bought a carton for me. So she went to the bulk store and bought what I used to buy, the carton of organic eggs. I think it's a flat of 30 eggs or something, it's a big carton. And her husband bought it. I didn't say nothing because he knows what I have here and he's right next door, but they want to go to the store and buy what them can buy because everybody wants things for free and it's not free. So she ate the egg, and as soon as she got the last bite in, it came back. And that's what used to happen to me. I would get the last bite in and it would just be like, and it came out. She goes, it doesn't happen when she eats mine. And she's only eaten mine since I started in April, when I had the girls in April till now. Once you start eating the real food, you cannot go back to the fake food. It literally made her sick. So she doesn't eat them that often, but she knows they're not washed. She knows what's going on. And she relies. But that's what I'm saying. People know what you're doing. They buy, but then I'm gonna go back and buy. It's cheaper. It may be cheaper, but you're not getting quality. I have a feeling that it allegedly is linked to dementia because someone really close used to use the pink packets and diet. I think it is. I believe something was mentioned. I'll have to find it and we can talk about it next week. I know we talked about, as a family, coconut oil is being used with people who have that issue, and it's giving them better brain function because I think it crosses the blood brain barrier. And most people have been talking, scientists, against coconut oil. Oh, it's not good for you, blah 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 blah. Listen here, most people, my chiropractor does not use lotion anymore. She buys that big tub of coconut oil. She spoons out some in a container, puts it in the bathroom, and she oils her body with coconut oil. She does coconut oil pulling for her gums and her teeth. All of these natural things that work better than what we were doing. So I'm going to be trying to come off toothpaste. I changed it to a natural one, but there's still something going on. So I'm going to figure it out, but I'll let you guys know. Fabric softener, absolutely toxic. Fabric softener, the beads that I have. Hey, Fifi. Hey, Jones Truth. I don't think I said hi to you. Absolutely dangerous. Absolutely disgusting. And if you have eczema or anything like I do, come off of the fabric softener. You can, in your dryer, if you have those sheet balls, I call them sheet balls, they're like wool balls. If you put essential oils on them and you put them in the dryer, then you can get a nice scent. Like you can get vanilla, you can get whatever scent that you personally like to make your clothes smell nice. Because I do like my clothes to smell like that fresh laundry smell, but you have to cut back. And then what's that? That's polluting the water. But they're talking about farming. Oh, the farmers, it's the farmers. No, it's everything else. I think everything else is a problem before you even get to the farmers. So let's deal with that first. And then if it's still a problem, then we talk to the farmers. Air fryers with the new microwaves. Yeah, but make sure your air fryer is not the Teflon coated stuff. They have ones that are stainless steel. If you do have the Teflon one, then put your food in a non-toxic container in the air fryer so that your food's not touching the Teflon, if that's all you have, until you can upgrade to yours. Do not use foil. Foil's not good for your food either. It leaches into your stuff. As a sidebar, so everything, yeah, everything is toxic. Everything is toxic. So some of the stuff that we've been told and we believe are outright lies. And it's not the food that's the problem in all cases. A lot of it is that when they harvest the food, what they do after to dry it, especially wheat, they spray it with Roundup Grazon to make it dry because they don't want to spend the time to put it out in the sun or put it in whatever, dehydrator or whatever they use and air it out and rotate it, because to do it that way takes time, and you have to make sure you prevent mold. And the onion takes away from the onion bulb. Yes, that's why. But I usually let one or two flower. I don't let everything flower. But when I let it flower, I'm telling you, the pollinators come. They get the memo. They tell their friends, and they're coming over to get the stuff from it. So I agree. That's why you can't do everything, but you have to let some things flower for the. It's a circle of life, and if you're hey, see everything in your garden from flowering, that you're not operating with nature. Nature does things in a particular way, and you have to mimic nature. Now, do I want everything flowering? Absolutely not. Do I want seeds in my lawn and all over the place? Absolutely not. But you have to kind of let go and stop being so controlling and let some things go to seed. You're going to start to see more biodiversity in your garden. I'm telling you, the amount of moths and butterflies and different insects that are coming in, because there's nowhere else for them to eat. They come to my yard. The flies are through the roof, but guess what? The flies lay eggs. There's maggots. The chickens just re-eat the same flies in the run. I'm not so concerned about it until I have company. Then I'll put the traps out and trap them up. But it's not a problem for me. It was at first, when I realized, no, that's food for them. And when they die off, the new ones come up. The chickens just eat that. The chickens are in the run. I don't know what they're eating half the time, but they're eating a lot because they're not skinny. They're not skinny. So let things happen in a more natural way. I'm in the city, but you can still have things in a more natural way. We cannot be micromanaging our garden like we micromanage our family and our life. That's not normal. Things need to operate. You cannot go and say, I don't want no bad bugs in my garden. If there's no bad bugs, then there's nothing to attract the good bugs either. The ladybugs come because they need something to eat. So they need some aphids, they need some other bad bugs to eat. So you have to operate with balance, not with control and elimination. Let some things survive and live within reason. Have your trap crops so that they can have a crop over there and they can have at that crop. Let them have it. We cannot keep going in and spraying and powdering and demolishing, and because we can't have powdery mildew. Powdery mildew is the most horrible thing. What can I do about it? It comes every year by itself. I cut the leaves off, yes, but sometimes I don't care. It's going to spread. I have a short growing season. By the time it's going to spread, everything's going to be cleaned up, thrown to the compost bin or burned, and I'm moving on with my life, going on to winter. Look at things in a more broader sense. We cannot keep micromanaging everything. Oh my God, there's spider mites. I put some DE on them. If they live, they die. I don't know, but I can't keep focusing on that. I have to have balance. And sometimes with balance, you got to let some things live that you don't want to live and just mind your business. The same way that your neighbor has having an affair with the lady down the street, and when they, the neighbor's spouse goes to work, somebody sneaks in, mind your business. Mind your business. Keep your eyes on your side and don't worry about what they're doing over there. Let me go back to the chat and I want to wind it up. Go outside between 12 and 2 for 10 to 15 minutes daily to absorb some UV light energy from the sun. Stand barefoot in the yard to absorb minerals from. Yes, I believe in grounding. I haven't done it as much as I should, but I definitely believe in grounding. Chewing gum pumps air into your stomach. Yep, I learned it the hard way. You would eat that to kind of keep from eating food and not getting hungry, but guess what? It was worse. You're full of gas. The cosmos and echinaceas have been attracting yes, I have my zinnias, my calendula, my nasturtiums, marigolds, all the herbs. So I'm talking like, bee balm, the cilantro, the dill, the fennel attracted a lot of things. The petunias, the all the different stuff. The stone crop attracts a lot of, if you have stone crop in your climate, attracts a lot of pollinators over here in the fall. They love stone crop. It's like it's ridiculous. What else? My strawberries, the fruit is attracting the pollinators as well. But the earwigs are a problem. But as I said, balance. It's a problem because they ate all my radish and my turnip leaves. But guess what? I still have turnips and radishes. So I cut the leaves off, gave it to the chickens, and the bulbs were good size, and those are going to be used to eat. You don't have to have every plant perfect. If it's a root crop, let the root crop be okay and let them have the leaves. I'm not going to worry about worry about it. You want everything with seed, David? You want hybrid? Yeah, hybrid. I'm not concerned about hybrids because people call everything a hybrid, but really it's been open pollinated. It's open pollination. It's going to happen in nature. It's not like it's this dirty word, and people make it sound like it's not dirty. Open pollination is hybrids. If you have certain species next to each other that are going to cross pollinate, the seeds that you're going to get are not going to be quote unquote pure seeds. That's a hybrid. I have no problem with those seeds. That's why the library program here gave us seeds to plant, and they want those seeds back because we're going to keep the generations going. They want open pollination, natural growing, so that we can share the seeds as a city and as a collective. I'm growing 4 or 5 things from that collection. I give them back their seeds, and then I add my seeds that I harvested from those same plants. Those are hybrids. If you want to be really like some people are OCD, like they don't plant things that are of the same genus to prevent cross pollinations. I'm only growing one kind of corn because I want just that kind of corn. You can't plant 50 million things and think it's not going to cross. It's going to cross pollinate, but it doesn't bother me. That's natural. It's open pollination. Now, if you're a seed company, you don't want that. You want to have a pure heirloom species, but hybrid's not a dirty word. It's been made to be a dirty word. It's not a dirty word. GMO is what we need to worry about. Take care, Marlene. I want everything. Yeah, I do want things. I agree with you both. I want things with seed, but as I said, I can't always get that. Scrolling down. Everything can cause something, they say. You wash eggs, they don't last. Exactly. But you tell people that, David, and they don't get it. They don't understand raising your own food. They don't get it. And not even that, the bloom on the egg is more protective from bacteria than what they're doing to it. And quickly, let's talk about that before I close off this. Okay, she's busy. Because people are saying, oh, there's bacteria, there's E. coli, there's blah, blah, blah. Now, I don't know what people do or how they handle their stuff, but if you're doing proper food handling and you're cleaning your sink, this is just me, so everyone's different. Like if I'm washing stuff, I don't wash stuff in a sink with stuff in the sink. Some people just wash stuff. If I'm washing eggs, then I'm using the side that's empty. I wash the eggs, I put the egg down, and then I wash my hand because I don't know if something came off the egg onto my hand. I let the egg sit there and dry, and I wash it with sometimes soap, not just plain water. I get a natural soap, I wash it. After I wash my hands, you make the eggs. And I always clean my sink. If I wash something in my sink that's not quote unquote clean or kosher, then you spray your sink down and you wash your sink. Because if you put like dishes in that sink, something could cross contaminate that cup or that cutlery, and it could cross contaminate. But people be doing some foolishness. That's why, like, I'm kind of OCD. Like, even at work, people couldn't. I'm like, do not come here. Like, some of the guys would come from off the road when they were doing certain things. They would come off the road and then wash their hands in the kitchen sink. And most of us would be like, because we're office staff, like, yo, go to the washroom and wash your dirty hands in the washroom. You don't come off the road and wash your hands in the kitchen sink. We handle our food here. And like all that, well, it's blah, blah, blah. I said, listen here, dirty boy. The sink now has the residue of the dirt from off your hands. Unless somebody comes after and cleans the sink, people handle their food and their dishes in here. Therefore, go wash your hands in the quote unquote bathroom washroom. That's what it's for. And we would have all these arguments with the drivers. It's like, yo, that's what causes cross contamination. Don't do that. But this is what the problem is. So I guess the government thinks that for our own benefit, they're going to wash and sanitize and pasteurize certain things because it's better for the population. When really it goes back to the hygiene. Clean your stuff properly and clean your sink after you clean those items to prevent cross contamination. I have a spray for my sink. There's a way that you have to do things that may seem like, oh, that's OCD. Maybe, but it's better than getting sick. Let me see. I moved back to my mom's after 25 years. I know that's an adjustment. I grew up with coconut oil grandparents. That's what I'm saying, Fifi. They're talking about how it's bad, but I'm going to end it now because I'm really, really behind time and they're going to kill me if I'm late and I don't want to have to drive myself. Your company needs to get used to your chickens, not chickens' germs to use. Yeah. They have to, and if you do proper hygiene, it's not a problem. People don't do things properly. If healthy things are mass produced for monetary gains, then that's when it's dangerous. Mm-hmm. So keep growing your food, keep doing what you're doing, but keep researching. Some of what they're telling us is definitely not true. It's partially true. And we just need to be cautious and be open. Also not good for your teeth. You wear them down chewing gum. I was chewing gum. I was a gum chewer. Not labeling as GMOs anymore. Bio. Okay, I'm going to check that out, Dave. I think we talked about that. I think another live, somebody mentioned that. Yeah, the library has seeds. I know Psalms went there and got some seeds. They have seeds, and it's like a swapping program. And I know you love to collect seeds, so you just donate some seeds back from that harvest, and the city is keeping their biodiversity there because they understand the importance. They are losing pollinators, and they're trying to encourage people who garden to plant certain things. Like I haven't planted milkweed for monarchs and certain things for particular pollinators. So we got to just do what we can. Do your part. Hey, Tony, Lord, Tori, my God. But thanks for coming in, for tapping in. Please hit the thumbs up button. It helps the algorithm. It helps the channel. And I'll see you next Saturday, God willing. I think, yeah, I'm good. I dropped a video this week with George the Groundhog. Check it out. It's very short. Check it out. And we'll talk next week. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and keep doing your research. We'll talk about some more stuff next week. And check out, today is no chat today with the OCD chick and Hands in the Dirt. I believe today, I'm not sure if G Quad's going live. Monday is going to be My Fly Family at 8 o'clock, usually Eastern time, as well as Tori's Brain, also at about 8 o'clock. I don't know if he's doing Neckbone Bubba's games on Sunday, but he can, he'll post a thumbnail. Thursdays, Miss Shirley OG, also Planter Garden, also, I'm all over the place. Wednesdays, Erica My Fly Family at, I think it's 5 o'clock, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tuesday and Fridays is African Dreaming Trill Tuesday and Friday Faves. And whoever else, check people's thumbnails. I can't keep track of everybody. And I'll see you next week. You could type #urban to drop your link. I'll keep it running for a few minutes so you can drop your all's link. Check each other out and see if you like what's there and support if you would like. Okay? Take care, guys. Peace out.